Testing, testing. Hi, Rupta.
Yeah, we're live.
Yes,
Now, I don't hear
I don't hear it anymore.
I don't hear the rebound. Do you hear the rebound?
Not anymore. So I think we don't have it anymore. And maybe people that are
Oh,
connecting with
great,
us now can give us a little feedback.
great, wonderful. So we are live. I'm now in Doha. I just spent a wonderful night in this gorgeous place. I wish I could turn the camera around and show you all, but anyway, it's here I am in Doha. It was just something that happened on the way to Australia. Um, and where are you, Tyler?
In this moment, I'm in center of Italy, north of Rome.
Okay, great, wonderful.
So
Sorry if our screen freezes sometimes. Just to let you guys know in advance, we're really sorry about that. Anyway,
anyway, ready to start this fourth episode out of 9 on leadership based on heart, on the heart. So thank you, Rupta, for having me here. I'm really happy to see you again. Welcome to everybody that's connecting now on Facebook and also on Instagram. My name is Tyler. I'm a life coach. I'm a self-love and relationship expert. I'm very happy to be here with Rupta and to talk about her training, her leadership rebellion training. And Rupta, for those that don't know her, she's an expert of leadership. She's a coach. She's a founder of Tools for Life Institute. She's a trainer, a speaker, and I'm really happy to be with you today. Really, really happy to be with you today. So today we're going to talk about being the leader you want to see in the world. And I know this is really a big topic for you, Rupta. You often, I mean, I worked with you for so many years, and you often refer, when you talk with people, you often say, "Okay, guys, do you really like the leadership that you see now in the world?" And it's not only like in politics, it's also like the way people lead in their family or lead with their partners or lead in their business. I mean, leading is it's many things in many aspects of life. And it's true, we don't have so many good examples out there, and sometimes we feel a little bit disappointed for the way others are leading us, or for the way people are showing only one way of leading. So I was curious to ask you and to know uh, how come it's so important today to step into a different kind of leadership.
I'm sure a lot of people can agree with you on that one. How important it is to step into a new kind of leadership, in part because most of the leadership we're seeing today is not really working. You know? And many different systems that are in place are mm, based on leadership, and many decisions are based on leadership. And what we're seeing, of course, globally is a lot of poor decisions being made and a lot of decisions focused or angled towards, uh, we could go as bold as saying profit driven decisions, decisions that are not in the interest or the collective interest, the public interest, the social interest of the people. So in that, of course, we lose a certain level of heart-led leading. We sensitivity, awareness, conscientiousness in the decisions we make, and really being attuned to the community. So we lose our pulse in that, and because of that, I believe that the very few that are making the bigger decisions are affecting other leaders in maybe not such a bigger role in steering their leadership in that direction. Not all leaders. We have, of course, some people really trying to go against the tide and against the status quo of what some leadership has been represented as today, especially politically, because, I've been around people who have been in the political forum and and have been close to those on the political stage. And it's a very, very cutthroat dog-eat-dog world, and it's very disconnected from the sort of human way of relating where we can actually have a trust-based culture, or have a deeper, meaningful, purposeful based culture. It's sort of steered away from that many, many years ago, especially when we moved more and more towards capitalism. I'm not saying all leadership is bad. I'm just recognizing that today a lot of it is not conducive to the world ideally we want to have, if we want to think long term, especially environmentally.
Yeah, well, you're talking, I'm thinking that sometimes, I mean, I'm talking for me, I feel disappointed when I see the leadership that's out there. And then automatically I feel like, well, if that's leadership, I don't want to lead. I mean, I prefer to really like get off the grid, or get off the system, get out of the system, and not having anything to do with the system, because I really don't like the style. I really don't like the values. I really don't like what they're saying and how they are behaving. So, and sometimes it's really hard for some of us to really find our own capacity of leading, because outside, if we don't have any kind of good reference or people that we can look up to, we feel, well, maybe, you know what, I don't want to lead. I mean, it's not worth it. I mean, if to lead, it means that I have to behave in that way, speak in that way, and have those values. No, leading is not for me. And I think that what you're doing with your trainings and with your work is bringing another perspective on leadership, and it's helping people to understand that maybe leadership is something different. It can be something different, and you can lead in a different way. It's possible. So I was wondering, how can you step into that leadership that can make that change? What would you suggest to someone like me, for example, that doesn't feel that he likes that kind of leadership that's out there? What's your suggestion for people that want to make the change? Are there like 5 steps that we can do, or what can we do to change the leadership that we don't like?
I just want to say something that to what you just said. I made a comment in the last leadership training that we just finished in Amsterdam, and the comment was that when I got approached by a big company to bring in some leadership, heart-led leadership work, and this was I don't know, 5 years ago, and I declined doing it because I didn't really want to step into that corporate world, because I had been doing leadership and I had been working workshops in a quote unquote more of a workshop environment. It wasn't corporate. It was people coming. When people come to you, implicit in that, they are very clear they already want something to change. And when that happened, I had a conversation. I was talking to my mother in San Francisco, and she said, why did you say no? And I said, because I don't really want to be in that corporate world. Just like what you said, Tyler, the way that they competitive and comparing and, knocking each other down. That was my perception. Yeah. And in some regards, that kind of leadership does exist in many of these corporate worlds. But what was really beautiful is what she said, is they're making the big decisions now. And if we can make an impact in heart-led leading in that environment, that can have its own impact. And that of course was inspiring. So now I very much changed the course of direction as far as, where heart-led leading, where I'm really open to bringing it, because I was hesitant, let's say it like that. So to answer your question, already what I would say to people who are, what you mentioned is, why would I want to be a leader if that's the kind of leader that's out there? I don't want to portray anything like that. That doesn't feel accurate to me. And yet what we teach in Heart-Led Leading essentially is being in alignment with your truth, what is true to you, and not abandoning that, not abandoning yourself. So in working, one of the ways is getting very clear on what's important to you. So one of the first things I would say is, what is it you want in your life? What is important to you? What is meaningful to you? What is purposeful to you? What are some of your core values? And when you get that very clear, you can be in alignment to that. And how do I want to bring that into the world? Whether it's in a small context, working with one person or two people, or supporting someone locally in a community, a nonprofit, a shelter, wherever it may be, a friend, a family member, or you want to step beyond that, and sort of, help others in, larger groups or companies, businesses, teams, and so on, organizations. First, having that key alignment, because when you lead, in many ways, you're leading from an authentic place. You want to lead from an authentic place. You don't want to disconnect from that core place, because if you end up losing that part of yourself for the other, then you're, of course, incongruent and disauthentic. And another one I would say is work from a place of being grounded within yourself. And you and I know that very well, somatically. How do I ground myself? How do I resource myself? How do I stay connected? How am I remain here in breath work and, nature, being in nature, connecting to the wilderness, to the wild, things that help you regulate, come back into yourself, so that when you are standing there, even if it's one individual or an entire room full of people, that you really can not only hold them, but hold yourself. That's really, in a way, congruent again with heart-led leading. So what your purpose is and what your meaning is and what your values are and what is it you want in life is going to really direct you. Staying grounded and centered will help hold you and also hold the individuals, yeah? And then, you and I, for the third element, we bring in the heart. And the heart has that quality and the alchemy of changing many things that we feel is unchangeable, and brings in compassion, brings in forgiveness, brings in gratitude, brings in love, brings in understanding. So all these other things that can start to shape and shift and transform what we think is unmovable or broken, and can start to shift through the heart. So those three things we can enable ourselves as we want to move towards the leader we want to be in the world.
Yeah, this thing of authenticity, I know it's really a big thing. Every time I see you work, I see that there's so much value in being authentic and being open and being yourself. And I know that most of your training is really based on that, on like, how can we be authentic in this world, and how can we have authentic relationships and authentic way of talking and connecting to people. It's really, really important. And I think we're also going to talk about this in the next episode, because if I remember well, the next episode, the fifth one, the topic is, you'll never be a true leader unless you consider this. That's the title that we have for our next step. So I know that authenticity is really, really a big part of this experience of leading. I as usual, I see that the time is really running fast. And so I really wanted to thank you for today, for being with us and for giving us other tips on this journey. And thank you, everybody that's following us in this moment. If you like this episode, remember that you can share it on your social media. If you want to know more about Roopta and about her work, make sure to check out her website, www.roopta.com. And we'll see each other next Tuesday, February the 14th at 7:30 p.m. Sydney time, 9:30 a.m. Paris time. We're going to talk about, you'll never be a true leader unless you don't consider this. And again, if no one has told you today, remember, you're loved, you matter, and it's time to start leading. Thank you so much, Roopta, for being with us today.
Thank you,
Thank
Beauty.
you, everybody.
Thank you, guys, for tuning in.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.